Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Taylor Walker, Chief Insurance Officer at LoadSure. Taylor, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thanks, Tony. It's been a busy last couple of months specifically, and pretty hectic year for us, but all in positive ways.
Okay, that's fantastic. Same exact on my side. That is really fantastic. So for Taylor, I did say Chief Insurance Officer. Yes. So for the listeners, before we started recording, we get on the call and Taylor tells me I don't think we had actually met before, but I did see you walking around some conferences with the top hat, uh, and I'm like, what top hat? Man? What are you talking about?
Hard to
Anyway,
miss.
uh, so the top hat works. It really works. Yeah, the branding works really well. Uh, so if I'm correct, you're in Connecticut, and we're recording August 17, 2023. So we are about 2 weeks past the hottest month in human history. Uh, so Connecticut in August, I'm gonna guess beautiful, like still like
Yeah, spot
beautiful
on.
fall.
We get the shorts and sweatshirts at night, and if you're on the water, a little bit of a breeze, and during the day it's 85 and sunny. We've had
Fantastic.
a little bit of a wet summer, but what you sign up for in New England, and part of the game.
Fantastic. I love Connecticut. I had actually never been to New England except for Connecticut and Boston. And earlier in the spring, I did a tour of conferences, and I had a few days in between a conference in Boston and a conference in New York. So I spent about, I don't know, 12 days in Vermont and like with friends in Vermont, and then drove a lot around Maine and New Hampshire and even Montreal. Beautiful area, and it was a beautiful time of the year. And I'm heading back to Vermont uh, in between conference here in the fall. So super excited for that. So awesome! I'm glad to hear that the Connecticut is beautiful right now. Uh,
Yeah,
so Taylor,
you'll have to hit New Haven next time, where our office is, and get some pizza, enjoy
so
it.
you were telling me before we started recording that New Haven, Connecticut is the pizza capital of the world.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I
absolutely.
think there's a lot of Italians that would complain about that. Also, a lot
No,
of New
that's
Jerseyans for
a
some reason.
staple. Yeah, New York will make an argument, but pizza in the U.S. was really here in New Haven first, and uh, it's the Dave Portnoy, for his One Bite fans, will lay claim to it as well, as New Haven's the pizza capital, and it's become a huge tourist hub for it now.
Really, and I'm a big pizza guy. So I'm gonna have to think about that. You guys are south of Hartford, right on the water. Probably beautiful, but a little bit far away from the area I'm hitting this time. Although, okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Let me think about this.
We
Okay,
can put something on the calendar. We can make it
perfect.
worth it.
Okay, perfect. Let's
We'll have you in the office.
yeah, you put a bug in my ear. I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. Okay, so we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is LoadSure?
That's a great question, and our elevator pitches can be a bit of fun. And if you ask a lot of our team, you might get it stated in different ways, but it all means the same thing. I like to say we're making waves for insurance brokers in the market, and we're data powered AI pricing for freight insurance, and for our primary product offering, it's done in 40 seconds, or it's done instantly in an API environment. Um, we're looking to change the way it's been done in the past. You've gone out to place a piece of complex business in the ocean cargo market with some stock throughput policy elements to it, and you end up waiting a couple of days for somebody to give you the cat modeling feedback. Then you have to wait for the underwriter to review the risk. And if it's a small risk, you might just get ignored as the broker, and that hurts your client. We've developed an ecosystem in which those fairly complex risks can be entered by the broker with controls passed down to the client like they're filling in an application, so that we can gather that risk information and then give the broker not only a quote instantly in some cases, but give them the data and feedback about what we see in that risk. Why do we think the way we do when we review it? Not just, hey, we didn't love the location, so you're getting a high premium and big deductible. It's, here's all the information we gathered from data sets on that location and how we feel about it. We do the same thing on the shipment models where we offer this embedded shipper's interest product that helps cover the underinsurance crisis that we're experiencing in the supply chain. It enables them to make that instantaneous purchase when they see it in a TMS, so a transportation management software. And it's about creating that fluidity in the marketplace, a lot of water terminology there, for how everything kind of connects together globally. And insurance just needs to fit seamlessly into that for all of our customers and our partners. And if we can solve those problems, we'll make a much better ecosystem and create sustainable pricing for everybody involved.
Okay, okay. The making waves part, uh, I was like, okay, so a little bit of marketing speak, but then it hit me once you told me what you guys do. Ocean cargo. So great.
Ocean cargo. We're doing
I
motor
love
truck
the
cargo
motor.
now. It's all marine transit or inland marine
Okay.
transit, and we're growing that product suite to fit the freight community. So the goods could be moving on a ship, they could be moving on trucks, and we'll wrap around and protect them. And our newest product offering is a market normal product, motor truck cargo legal liability. We're really excited to be launching it. And when I say making waves for insurance brokers, just in that broker's office alone, the the silence in the room when we did a demo for them at one of the biggest transportation brokers in the US. Give me your DOT number, give me these bits of information. Boom, your quote was done in less than 10 seconds, and they didn't only have the quote, they had a whole data pack on all of that carrier company performance and exposure and risk summary. Um, they were just absolutely in awe at what we had put together and were able to provide them.
Fantastic.
The comment was the Alpha House market we normally go to would take 2 weeks to give us that quote back.
And you guys did it in how long?
Less than 10 seconds. And
And
if you look at the
uh,
supply chain, these customers don't have 2 weeks to wait.
okay. Um, okay. So I know very little about ocean marine. I do have my AMIM, which is the Associated Marine Insurance.
Wow.
But
I'm impressed, right?
I got it like 9 years ago, and it was one of those like Nationwide kept paying for them, so I kept getting them. But I've never worked in marine, so okay. So marine is the oldest line of insurance, basically. It's where it all came
Yeah,
from, right? Even the language is different. So I'm guessing that marine is even more old-fashioned and than insurance, and it's managed with even more old-fashioned systems than the rest of insurance. Am I halfway correct in that?
absolutely. And we like to make that comparison that not only is the marine insurance market one of the oldest in the world, but the industry itself, transportation, is one of the oldest in the world. You could People could argue for agriculture being what really stood up mankind, but the reality is that the movement of people and the movement of goods and things is what allowed societies to flourish globally. Um, and we're a part of that, and we're trying to bring it into the 21st century. It's it's outdated, and it's amazing to see the change, not that we're making on our own, that many people in this industry are now making, and it's really impactful. We work with our customers every day that are really breaking the ceiling in what's possible from a tech standpoint in these booking platforms, load boards, TMS systems that all connect people together, goods carriers, and all do it in ways that can help provide good data feedback to them. And when we're able to kind of seamlessly tie into that from both a data perspective and an insurance offering perspective, it just makes a perfect match.
Okay, so you mentioned data-powered AI pricing for freight insurance. Okay, so my understanding, you're a marketplace for freight insurance. Uh, it,
We're an MGA,
okay,
so
so you're an MGA for freight insurance, and in some ways it can be embedded into into my into my transportation management system. If I'm
Yes,
a
if you're a logistics company, you're a freight broker. What we do is we have a very seamless API work process where we embed into the TMS that they either have a proprietary one or something that's off the shelf, and we plug and play into that so that when anyone in their organization is working as a team, they see the insurance offering right at their desk level as they're working with the client. So it becomes this part of the ecosystem. There are companies that do that. They've put their name out and said, "Yeah, we do that too. We do this." Where we really have differentiated our technology and where our CTO has really supported pushing me forward is we're getting so granular in how we can price the risk for our broker partners. So that freight broker, his clients could be anyone. You could have a medical device company, you could have Coca-Cola, you could have t-shirt companies, anything. And what we're able to do is at a very granular level price that risk for those clients. So we have a client that we support some Coca-Cola product shipments on, and we have different pricing and structures for shipments between Ohio and New York and Ohio and California for them. And it matches up with the levels of the contract, and they were trying to win more market share with the company. We were able to support the freight broker to do that because we can set those granular parameters within our API call, and it doesn't put any more work on the freight broker or provider. We actually sort it all on our end. All we do is get that influx of data in the API, and we pass back the right terms and conditions and pricing for their client.
Okay. When you say broker, you mean freight broker. When I say broker, I mean insurance broker. So we have to be careful. I have to be careful with that.
We've got two sides to it. So we embrace both. So one, we're working with the freight brokers through their insurance broker, which gives this power to them.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of this is all of our product offerings, we push that into the broker community, the insurance broker community. We're here to enable them to serve their community better with our product offering. And one of the first things you said that I thought was spot on is ocean cargo insurance. It's got to be somewhat outdated in some of the language and process, and it is. There's the policy forms, you could read through them and you could go blind from some of the language that's in there because you start getting into the weeds. If you're like, what does that clause mean? Oh, it's a ship that exploded 200 years ago, so we still use the clause. Don't worry. We've tried to simplify it to the point that any broker could be representing their PNC client and say, you know what, I want to try and put a stock throughput together form this year. Let me plug in the right information. As I go through the workflow, I'm going to be educated on what I'm getting and get that quote back instantly. And then if I've got questions about it, I can tag the underwriter, have a human conversation, of course. We're there to support them. We've got a team that's ready to go. But it simplifies that process for them dramatically. Whereas they'd be hunting for an application from some other carrier, and if they ended up at certain size carriers, they might just get thrown back a quote with a minimum premium on it because they don't want to deal with it.
Okay. So the listeners are insurance brokers and carriers, not transportation brokers. So for the transportation brokers, completely understand how this is like life changing. So let's start with the insurance brokers. So for insurance brokers that do a lot of marine, I'm guessing they're like lining up at the door to do business with you because you just make their life a lot easier.
That's the goal. That's the focus. There's always resistance to some of the technology. I think the best question I always get asked though is how much does it cost? I'll sit with a colleague that I've worked with in the past at one of the brokerages, and we'll have this conversation. And they're getting approached by other companies that can do something like this.
Okay.
And they'll get given a SaaS product quote estimate, and they'll say, "Well, what does it cost?" And I just say, "This is part of doing business with you. This is what we provide." And what we create for those insurance brokers at a certain tier is you get this white label portal. So our environment becomes your environment. It's mocked up with a really nice logo. Your logo's on there, and you get your website. So if it's Epic Brokers that we're working with, it's epicbrokers.loadsure.net. And then when their customers can log in if they need to, they see the Epic logo, we're embracing them. That's how we operate. We look to empower our broker community as much as possible. We want to put this power in their hand, and then our underwriting team is there to support them as much as possible.
Okay. What about the carriers? So I can totally see how the brokers would be excited to work with you. Why would the carriers play ball?
Our capacity carriers that support us.
Yeah.
So we have
Not the marine carriers, the insurance companies that write marine insurance that like to do it their way.
So they'll see us as competition to some extent, although we have a panel of capacity that we hold authority from, and we're not looking to do things in the traditional format. So when we're looking at ocean cargo and stock throughput insurance, not only are we bringing that automation into it, but we're looking at a path forward for that as a product line to improve risks in the US and around the world. We want to get to a point where we're providing weather insights and data into the locations so that if there's a large potential loss about to happen from a windstorm, for example, we can help offset that and say, hey, you're at high alert over the next 60 days for an act of God. We recommend either, whether it's basic preventative measures, making sure your backup generators are fueled, making sure your staff is taking care of their families at home and ready for an event like this. And then, hey, we could scale down your inventory over the next 30, 60 days. Maybe don't bring anything new in, plan ahead. One of the things that we're looking at doing is being able to do that with price incentives. So your warehouse exposure in Florida in the winter doesn't need to be astronomical from a premium perspective. And if we can show and display that in a live policy for companies, they can make those decisions in advance of how their supply chain is going to work and operate. So our capacity panel looks at us as we're doing something different. We're not just going after the exact same business. And the clientele we're really focused in on is that SME organization. Those are the companies that in the past, they get hit the hardest when the market starts pushing rate. They get hit the hardest when a minimum premium changes at a CV Star or at an Allianz or somewhere else. That creates a big damaging impact to those small companies where they had a $5,000 premium and now the minimums are 10 or 25. That's brutal, and those are the clients we want to go after.
Okay, so you guys are an MGA, basically, with
Correct,
great technology. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
We're an insurtech, is the category we put ourselves in, and we're a cover holder with Lloyd's. We're a Lloyd's Lab graduate.
Okay, gotcha.
We're we're very much on a path that is going to continue to grow and scale in the products we offer and how we do it. And we feel like you need to embrace some of those traditional things to get there. So we'd love to have instantaneous claim payment on risks like delay and other things like that in the future. But to get to that point, you've got to have a very sturdy book of business, and we need to be able to settle a normal claim as quickly as possible. And that's something we're very proud of. We've now settled a claim and paid it to a claimant in less than 10 seconds. So now that we've accomplished some of those things and we're continuing to build out our digital models and our data sets, and our book is becoming more stable, it allows us to start looking at other extensions of coverage in the marine space, like delay being really the focus there. So it's a journey we're going down. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's one of the paths we've been doing.
Okay. What is next? What else is coming down the pipe that you can already talk about? And you can assume that this episode will go out in not till like middle of September. So
okay.
So
I think, and maybe you'll have to do some editing magic to pull things around. So if you look at the products we offer today, we've got a suite of products. So our original first product we did, and I should have given you this when we were introducing LoadSure. Thames is our nod to the London market. It is a single shipment, all risk insurance policy for goods in transit. So that product launched, that was our first product offering that started in early 2020, just after we became a Lloyd's cover holder. That product has been really successful. It's been embraced by the community as a fast, quick solution to a need to find a one-off shipment solution. That merged quickly into what we refer to as Orinoco. So we use rivers and lakes based on the fluidity or static nature of our insurance product.
Orinoco is
And
South America, right?
don't quiz me on it. I believe so. I have a
Okay.
picture of it. It's on
Okay.
all of our logo. Uh, so Orinoco is that same shipper's interest product. It's the traditional shipper's interest insurance product that a client wants to buy, which I'm a freight forwarder. My insurance broker came to me and said, let me set you up with a shipper's interest policy. So that broker can come to us now, and that insurance broker will come to us for the help with that. And we'll create customized rating as granular as they want based on the shipment type, the details, the client names. We're almost untapped in what we can do. We can come up with as many things as we want for them. That then gets built as a custom loaded rate card for the client and is available through their API and in a live portal for the insurance broker. So we've done this with a broker at Lockton. So we worked with them on a client, we customized everything around it, built the portal out, went through the API. Every month we send that client a very detailed report on all of the performance from the clients inside them, their assureds that purchase the certificates, the motor carriers hauling goods. If it's a data point that we see, we can give them a report on it. So those two products are really our starting point. We then added in 2020 we kind of started in the late year, we started some soft work around annual ocean cargo, some of those traditional products. And we did our digital launch of those after a lot of work in the pricing models and CAT modeling. We did our digital launch this past June. So that provides the near instant CAT assessment of the SOV that's put into our system or that the underwriter uploads. So there's no waiting for anyone else. We push it, it's done instantly through an API. It's full CAT modeling. We've been able to get to test that against some of the market leaders in CAT analysis, RMS, etc. And we found that our results are very similar and close, which is great news. And those two products are Danube and Huron. Huron being when there's a static risk involved in a location, and Danube being when it's just the ocean transit of the cargo. So that's our current product suite. What we're launching tomorrow, hopefully, or we would have launched 2 weeks ago when people listen to this, is our motor truck cargo legal liability, which is our first entrance into the inland marine space. And that's a very data-driven product offering. It's a key off of a DOT number and the name of the company where we're pulling their financials through a vendor, and then we've warehoused and sourced all of the supporting data of motor carriers available from the US government and the different states. And we're able to then create our own proprietary data analysis reports on that motor carrier's performance. And we package that all up and instantly want to pass back that quote and the data to the broker partner that brought us the submission. That's where we're going to be sitting, which we're very proud of. The next iteration is how do we continue to improve the market? What else is needed in the community? And there's a couple of different things that we're working on today that we refer to as they're in ideation. So they're ideas that we're still figuring out. We're still finding the data for it. We're still discussing it at a company level to decide if we want to pursue it and when we want to pursue it. But it's a myriad of ideas from the catastrophic triggered delay insurance products for clients to kind of just simple twists on true cargo insurance, things like freeze protect that we've done in the past for clients. So it's it's, that process is really unique that we go through, and it lets us embrace feedback from brokers in the market on what they need help with, and ultimately that's what we look for. Our partners in the market, our insurance brokers, we ask them when we meet them, we try to ask them more and more, what else could we do for you? Where are you struggling in this organization, in this freight community, servicing your clients? What is hard? What has been a struggle, and how can we help? And we'll take that information away and see if we can build that into a product offering for them.
Okay. Okay, very cool. Very, very, very cool. Thank you. Thank you. You've given me a fantastically in-depth look. Love it. Love it, love it. I am always curious on the origin story, and I'm always curious on like where not only the company but where you came from. So I always have your LinkedIn open when I'm recording a podcast, and in your case, as I look at it, okay, so underwriter, so underwriting intern, senior underwriter, executive underwriter, underwriting marine, like it makes so much sense. And then a little bit further, you went to college for marine. That I've never
Yeah,
seen before. So I am really
it's
curious.
actually
How did
what's
you
funny
fall
is it's
in?
very common in the marine insurance market to see a lot of
So so
maritime college graduates in the industry.
so what is maritime college, and how did you fall in love with maritime like so much to go to college for it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I grew up racing sailboats and being on the water, and I wanted to make my absolute career out of that some way. I also had this pipeline dream from being a kid that I thought maybe I wanted to study marine science, and I'd work for NOAA, and maybe one day I'll get to go, swim with a killer whale or something. I was hooked on Free Willy when I was little. And then I took AP Bio my senior year of high school and decided I definitely did not want to do anything related to marine science.
Okay.
So landed uh, landed at Maritime and really fell in love with the industry overall. And we had a pretty incredible alumni network that would take you under their wing and show you the different pockets of the industry they worked in.
Mm-hmm.
And my now wife and I were dating at the time, and when I told her about a summer sea term I had to go on and everything like that, she was kind of on the fence. And we realized that if we were going to be together long term, or when I looked about my future, I said, "Oh, I really don't want to go spend every 3 weeks on a tugboat or every 3 months on a ship." So I started pivoting quickly to find internships and landed in the marine insurance sector and just embraced every opportunity I could find to learn from the best people I could. And had a great mentor who brought me into the market, and I've stayed closely in touch with, who has continued to be like a sounding board on an opportunity. And the best advice he's given me is you always pick up the phone if you can. If you can't, you always return the phone call that day, no matter what time it is. And the last big thing was, wherever you are, make sure you're learning. And that was one of the biggest things. And I've been lucky to work with some really incredible teams across the organization, and to have people in my career that would just frankly tell me, you're not going to learn enough anymore here over the next year or two. It's time to go. And
That is
I
amazing.
recommend you go. And that's really rare to have, and I'm really lucky that that's how it happened, because it pushes you to make a change and do something different.
Fantastic. Okay, so in order to keep your feet on land the majority of the time, you pursue the marine insurance side. You have some really great mentors. So you have 5, 8, 9, something like 10 years of underwriting experience. You could have easily been a well-paid marine underwriter for life, VP of marine underwriting, or whatever. Why go off and start your own thing that might
I
or might not be successful?
I blame Johnny McCord, our CEO and founder. He's very convincing. Stuck me right into it. But we spoke for almost a year. I was at Allianz, and I was very much still learning at Allianz. I had a pretty incredible team I was getting to learn from, and one of the groups, particularly the loss control team that I worked with, was unbelievably talented. And every day I had a conversation with them. I was learning, but there was, as a big company, there were certain frustrations. We would be told, you gotta, the portfolio needs to drive rate change, which it did, absolutely. But then as an underwriter, I was playing this game where I would look and say, okay, I can definitely get more rate on a $5,000 account, and it's the same percentage win. So maybe I'll get a little more there, a little less here, and play games with it. It really bothered me. And when I wanted to help that small customer, I was so focused on my handful of really big clients that were so important to the company that I didn't have time in my day to spend going after small business or working with smaller insureds and being in front of them. And that's a problem everywhere you work. If you don't enable tech into that ecosystem enough, you don't do that. And I felt like I could see the industry starting to kind of run away in other areas. And you looked at some of the other startups taking place and some of the insurtech plays, and Johnny and I connected and started having some conversations about the position. And over the course of a year talking, I really, what convinced me was his founding story, where he realized he was going to be left in the dust by the next generation behind him. When I came into the marine insurance market, I by far was not a genius by any means. And I look at some of the hires coming into the market now, and I think, wow, I probably wouldn't have gotten picked for a job anymore. Coming out of boat college, I mean, we've got some really incredible, talented people coming in as entry-level roles, and they excel in the industry. It's remarkable. And so now it's, I see that, and I'm glad I made that transition quickly to really embrace technology and surround myself with incredibly talented people in the market and be able to start building something really cool.
Fantastic. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Super, super, super interesting. Thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to continue, guys. See you guys continue. I look forward to see you guys continue to grow and maybe bring you back in a year or two to talk about how things have radically changed and what you guys are doing at that point. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, of course.